Hi, my name is Michael Tedder. I'm a senior at Dalton State College. I have my Associates of Forestry and currently working on my Bachelor's of Environmental Sustainability. My story started out as a child. Like a lot of people, I spent my time camping. I'm very grateful to my parents because pretty much every weekend we were at some park or historic site or something like that. I also remember in elementary school, the Georgia Forestry Commission held a booth and were showing different things about nature. They had a cross section of a pine tree where you could look at the rings inside of a tree and count them to know the age. To me as a child, that was absolutely fascinating. As I grew up, I knew that I loved going camping, fly fishing, and backpacking, and I knew I wanted to do a career with those things, but I didn't know exactly what. As time went on, I started to question what is it that I actually like about going camping and that type of thing. With a little bit of searching, people talk about going into the woods, and I came to the realization that going into the woods was actually what I liked. I like the what's called woody species or trees themselves, and those trees were special to me. I always remember looking at them, staring at them, playing with them, looking at the leaves, the nuts, things that fall on the ground. As time progressed, I realized that I wanted to go to college for these things. At Dalton State, I was lucky enough to earn my Associates of Forestry. Eventually, Dalton State started a new program called Environmental Sustainability. I really love the program because it is an interdisciplinary program. Although, yes, you need to have a basic understanding of the science, it really takes into account the humanities side of things. Why is nature important to us, to our culture, to our economy, and that type of thing? I've always been a very inquisitive person and asked a lot of questions in life and in class. One day I was reading on the internet and saw something called a herbarium. Well, I had never heard of a herbarium, and I was very curious as to what it was. I went to the professor who spoke about it and asked him to introduce me to it and what it was about. That professor gave me a tour of the herbarium and then said, "This resource is at your disposal, but you can study anything you like." So I simply spent time in the herbarium familiarizing myself with it. The professor was there along the way to answer any questions I might have. Through spending time with the herbarium, I found the thing that I like is called taxonomy. Taxonomy, simply put, is a classification of any organism, but specifically in a herbarium, plants or herbaceous species. I was able to dive in depth into taxonomy, into different forms of classification, and eventually I was able to put together enough information to present my research to the public. Another type of research that I have done is using tobacco plants. The scientific name is Nicotiana tabacum. This research was a more traditional research inside a laboratory. Inside the laboratory, I've done something called tissue cultures, which is taking parts of the plant, adding certain chemicals to it, and actually cloning the plants. Like any good research, you need to have a control and you need to have your experiment. Well, the point of the cloning was to control the genetic factor. When I was testing these tobacco plants, I knew that a certain cell lineage would be good or bad, and I could use that cell line or I could discard that cell line and start with a new clone. The goal of the project was to test the clones against drought and salinity. As we know, water is unequally distributed across the globe. Some places have droughts, some places have monsoons. Another consideration is the inundation of seawater into crops. So I could test these tobacco clones to see which one would grow better with less water or with more salty water. The goal of the research was to take the information that I learned from these tobacco plants and apply it to other crops that are important to our society. Some of those would be corn, soybeans, things of that nature. Going to college can be a daunting task, but find a program that really speaks to you. For me, it was the sustainability program. It may take long hours of studying and a lot of work, but I was fortunate to have a wonderful support system at Dalton State College. The resources are here. All you have to do is ask. Since my time at Dalton State, my goal for my career has actually changed. I have had such great support that I have come to really enjoy learning and really enjoy academia. My goal now is to go to graduate school and earn my master's and doctorate in sustainability with a focus on trees. I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I've been given, and you too can find your own path.